I'm Mailbox Spiders. I'm 37. I'm from South Georgia originally. So sometimes people guess around that area, but usually they're like, "Are you from Alabama?" And it's like, "No," you know, or some shit like that, or they just don't realize. But yeah. So I rap, sing, produce, play a number of different instruments. I guess one person described my music as future lo-fi,
Okay.
which I'll
Okay.
take that.
Yeah. Yeah. That,
It seems oddly fitting. Like for
yeah.
whatever reason, I never thought of that idea, but then one streamer did Ghost House,
Is it like
Rich
is it
from
like
Ghost House.
electronic lo-fi kind of thing? Like
I guess more or less. Like, have you ever listened to future bass or anything like that, or future funk?
I don't think
So
so.
it's usually like a lot of glitchy, stuttery effects and stuff like that, and it's usually very groovy, with the bass and the drums, and there's a lot of energy and things like that. It really varies the exact sound from one song to another in that genre, but really, it's kind of like just saying like almost like post something like post punk or post
Sure.
rock or
Sure.
something. But nowadays they use future because I guess they ran out of terms.
Future is the new post.
Exactly. That's
That's
my
funny.
guess.
That's funny. Um, you said you're from South Georgia. Is that where you're at now?
No, no, I'm down in Florida.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
got sucked down into Florida.
It's funny. I grew up in Maryland. I lived in Orlando for 10 years, and now I somehow landed in Jacksonville, Alabama.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry. so,
It's
so you
oh,
know exactly my pain when people
bro.
ask me if I'm from Alabama.
I don't even tell people I'm from Alabama. I work in Atlanta. When
Oh,
anyone asks me where I'm from, I live by Atlanta. That's my answer.
well, it's kind of like when Ludacris, I think he was like from Ohio or something, like started saying he was from Atlanta,
Ludacris
or
isn't from
like 20.
Atlanta.
He's not from Atlanta
What?
originally. I don't know how much time he spent in there, and of course, there's always 21 Savage pretending he's from Atlanta, and it's like apparently he's from Kent, England, which is like apparently one of the poshest areas of England.
What? I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, these English folks and people from other states, they're just that good at pretending to be from Atlanta.
Wow. Wow. Man, if that wasn't an industry plant, good lord.
For real, for real.
How long you been doing music?
Oh shit. I guess I started working in a doll from about the age of 15, and then before that, I was playing around with other musical stuff, but I had no clue what I was doing. So I had about a quarter of a clue by the time I was 15,
Okay,
and
I get that.
took a long time. We didn't have all these great features in YouTube, and I mean all these tutorials for
And the
YouTube and all
availability
this stuff.
of damn microphones and DAWs that you
Oh
can run on your
yeah,
computer, like that did not
so much cheaper
exist.
now.
It did not exist a couple years ago. The option for your average person to it's crazy.
Like the Scarlet Focus, right? Like they didn't have anything like that
Mm-mm.
when I was around, and now this thing's like just a powerhouse.
Yep, yep, yep. No, it's
Yeah.
crazy, man. I'm 35, so I understand exactly what you mean. Like
Uh,
when you were younger and you were doing music, were you doing like the same kind of music?
um, sort of. It was like a really bad version of what I do now.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair for sure.
I was into much different music, and the hip hop that was around back then just wasn't very good. Like early 2000s, it wasn't really till you had people like Timbaland and Swiss Beats and the Neptunes like really revolutionizing the quality of hip hop. And there were others too, but I feel like they just all took it to another level. That's why everybody was like, I need to get on Neptune's beat, Swiss beat,
Oh, no
Timbaland.
doubt. Yeah, yeah. They did what no one else was doing at the time.
Oh yeah.
What motivated you to start?
Um, honestly, I'm not sure. I just know that I really liked hip hop music and some electronic music. I actually listened to a lot of hardcore rock, hardcore punk
Okay.
back then. So it was very rhythmic as well, typically, what I listened to. And so it all just kind of somehow blended together. People say that I sound a lot like Aphex Twin, for instance.
Okay.
Like intelligent dance music.
Okay. Man, I gotta
As
link you
opposed
with
to electronic dance.
I gotta link you
You
with
what?
my main producer. He goes by Dick McGuffin, and I
I
promise you,
think I've
bro.
heard of him.
Oh, well, if you've heard any of my music, you've heard Dick McGuffin. Like, yeah, I have probably 30 songs on his beats, but and I only met him like 2 months ago.
Oh shit.
He makes the most unique sound I've ever heard. A lot of people don't fuck with it. It's mostly like dance style, but then
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not even gonna begin to try to explain what he does because I wouldn't do it justice. But I'll get a link you with him. That y'all would definitely vibe.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be really cool.
we talked a little bit about it, but probably just elaborate more on this. Having done music for 22 years, what are the obstacles that you've faced?
Mostly life more than anything. Like living in America. We have some of the worst social programs. Or the worst funded.
Oh, for
So like
sure.
finding resources. Is kind of hard. And when you're like making music and it's about the only thing you know how to do, um, it's not easy.
I
America
understand.
is not a good place for artists. Not to
No.
say that a lot of other countries are great, but you move up to like Canada, you get all these different, like they help Nickelback. If they can help Nickelback, American can help good artists. It's like for real. You couldn't make
That
it as a
was
good band, so
man. I'm using the shit out of that moment for reals.
do it. But yeah, it's like it's truly insane that we have so much amazing music coming out of America. That the U.S. is just like even today still like one of the biggest influences on music worldwide. Now, it is kind of like intermingling more than it ever has, especially because the internet and, of course, the U.S. like borrowed so much from elsewhere. But like
No,
hip
no.
hop, the blues, hip hop, the blues, jazz, it's like pretty much a very American thing. Like everybody like deep down
You're right. That's a good
from
point.
our
Honestly, that is a good
era,
point.
like we still kind of crave a little bit of that like um East Coast New York rap sound. Like so much of how we conceive of hip hop is still based around that. I mean, all the auto-tuned emo rap stuff is like obviously changing things, but it's like at its base, like if you hear like just a regular rap, it's probably going to be at least a little bit like East Coast rap. Everything was just kind of a version of that since it all started there pretty much for the most
Sure.
part.
No, that makes
But that
sense.
was what I grew up on.
Makes total sense. And same. It you make a unique type of music. I know the type of backlash and response that my buddy Dick McGuffin gets. Do you find the same thing? Submit your songs to review shows, and they're like, "What is this garbage? This is what it just stop." Like you get that a lot.
Not a lot, but it can definitely be polarizing. Like I had somebody who was like, honestly, it sounds like you just stripped all the drums of of the transients, and it's like, okay, yeah, I did that. It was a stylistic choice, and I respect, and I'm glad that he, picked up on that. But it's also kind of like that was style.
Exactly.
Sometimes
It,
you shift things and shape things for a certain reason, and some people will hate it. Like one person is like, I love this snare. This is the filthiest snare I've ever heard. Then another person's like, this snare is way too intense. If you just made the drums much milder, like this song would be amazing. And maybe that just means making different versions of the same
oh,
song,
for sure,
for
for
different
sure.
people.
Yeah, yeah, and like if somebody wants something different, but as far as like beats that you're making for yourself, actually that's another quote. I'll get back to that, but beats that you're making for yourself, it- you know, until an artist gets on it, it's yours. It's your
Yeah.
creation, and you created how. If it inspires an artist to create something on it and he wants something changed, then I think that's fair. But like, you know, music is so I can't think of the word right now. It's preference. It all comes down to preference.
Yeah.
You know, every person's different, and you know, does it affect you when you get negative response?
It did a lot more at the beginning because I don't get quite as much because I've just been going through an insane amount of feedback for the last year or two, just trying to learn as much as humanly possible. Because
Okay.
like I really only learned how to mix and master properly. Well, it wasn't properly then, but how to do it on a basic level about like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Trust. I feel
now
that.
I'm a
Yeah.
lot better,
No, I get
but
that.
it's like one step after another after another. You meet one person after another who helps you with some small part of it until you're decent.
Yeah, and sometimes like someone will say like one thing, and it'll just make 10 other things click. Like, and
Exactly.
you know, I get mostly negative response from my music because look, I'm 35. I've only been making music for 1 year, and I do it entirely for myself. Obviously, you know, you're making music hoping that one day you can make a lot of money with it. Um, where are you at with that? And do you make every beat that you make? Do you make it with the intention to sell it? And if so, how what are the ways that you go about selling your beats?
So I've made my money in music mostly elsewhere. Like, for instance, the first $3 I ever made in music, I was at a Waffle House drunk, and I was just playing and singing guitar, and some dude gave me $3, and I
That's
was like, "Are
awesome.
you sure?"
That's awesome.
And then, like every time I would come in sober to that same Waffle House, they'd be like, "When are you gonna play and sing here again?"
When y'all buy me a bottle of whiskey, like,
Yeah. Honestly, but yeah, it's like my main focus has been like collaboration, and honestly, for the longest time, I didn't know how to properly collaborate with most people. Now I'm a little better at it because I know a little bit better about how these things work.
and how to communicate with younger kids online as a
Oh
30
yeah.
something, bro. I feel like I had to learn a new language.
Yeah, honestly.
Like when I text my girlfriend, it's an entirely different process of how I do it. Like I and sometimes like I'll use words that I would use on Instagram or whatever, and like I just feel so stupid saying those things to her, you know?
I could see that. Yeah, definitely. When I'm using things that I learned, from like memes and all that, I have to explain a lot of it. And it's not as funny, but the next time I share like some other meme that's built on that meme, it's like
Yep.
now we have something in
Anyway,
common.
we're getting it. We're getting it.
Yeah.
So what's your goal with seeking to like collaborate and network and things like that? What's your goal with that?
Honestly, I'd like to start doing albums like say the Gorillas do, where like a lot of executive producing, but I might also produce a lot of the music, but also collaborate with other producers and sing a little bit, maybe rap a little bit, but feature a lot of different people,
That's
especially up and
awesome.
coming artists.
That's so awesome. What are some of the mistakes or regrets that you've had in your journey?
Well, like early on, I wish to some of my earliest collaborations that went really well. Further, like when I was just out of high school, I think it was, I met this friend who was just an amazing musician who actually introduced me to a lot of stuff that was like Aphex Twin and all that, and kind of gave me that inspiration to add this whole other level of experimentation and stuff. I regret that I didn't keep in better contact with them, because since then I haven't heard anything from them like in years. It's been probably a decade and a half. I had this project with them where we made 4 tracks, really short, really fast, and we called it Mannequin Bucket. but but yeah, I just really wish that when I was younger, and we had things like MySpace, I wish that I just really done a lot more with that, because like there were so many artists like Little B and Katy Perry and all these other artists who just like use that to the fullest.
Yeah, yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
and you could talk to like really good artists on there, and they would talk to you like a normal person. Like it was crazy because like now it's like they assume everything is some sort of weird promo, probably a scam, so they got to filter everything. I mean, it has improved somewhat with like Instagram stories. I mean, Instagram posts where you'll have people commenting, and you'll occasionally get like some great comment back from like one of your heroes or whatever.
Sure.
But it's not like it was then.
Okay. Okay. No, that's interesting. I've found the most successful thing I've done with music, as far as like, you know, finding people that have helped me not only improve and learn more, but also producers who, like, I have deals with them where I can post their stuff. We have, and instead of paying them, I just post everything with 50-50 split on it,
Oh, nice.
honestly. And if you want to, if you are willing to do that kind of thing, like, I have a group I'll put you in, and like, it's a, it's worked out for everybody, because like, oh, okay. So the point of what I was saying before I get to that is networking, because behind every beat is a person. You don't, you think of producers as these like just YouTube entities,
Yeah.
and but then like you go into their YouTube and you find their Instagram and you find their email, and like you gotta hit them on all of them. Start one. If you don't get a response on Instagram, go to the email, because you don't know how they communicate. But once you actually make contact with these people, like, you talk to them and they have a conversation, and they get to know you, you get to know them, and we realize that, like, if I'm putting all my music on SoundCloud, no one's getting paid. I'm not getting paid. You're not getting paid, and I don't have the money to buy beats right now. I just don't.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so let's just throw it up there, non-exclusive. Sell the hell out of the beat, please do. But let's see if we can make some money while we're waiting. Like,
Yeah, yeah, for real.
but yeah, if that's the networking is the most effective thing. I've really found a close group of people now. It took a long time. It took a lot of networking, thousands of people, to find 7 that I can trust, and we're working well together. Like, and all right. So what right now? If you don't mind me asking, whatever. Like, what are your numbers like? How many? Like, how many beats have you sold? Do you know? Like, what? Tell me.
Um, I haven't really sold any, but not really I don't advertise that I am selling. So it's really just a matter of either someone coming to me or me going to them. And it's a lot of both. And there are a lot of places where, say, you can just find people who are looking for an open verse or like a hook or something. And so I just kind of seek out those types of people and situations. And because I'm kind of thinking at this stage, it's really more about building. And I don't make tight beats. If I made tight beats, I'd probably be selling them a lot. But I don't do tight beats,
Sure.
so it's
You
kind
make
of
Mailbox
just
Spiders beats.
exactly.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I get that. Okay, so the last question is how would you describe your success? But you just kind of did. Um,
Well, I've gotten to work with some people that I really like. Um, like one of the people I got to work with, I'd hoped to for a while, Passive the Rapper. We've got like a couple tracks together. One of them I need to tweak the mix on and release formally to Spotify, but the other one's been on there for a while. It was with Passive the Rapper and Low Brian, who's I believe that Low Brian was on your
yeah,
review
I
stream
remember
too.
those
Yeah,
names. I remember both those names for sure. I haven't talked to them in a long time,
but Low Brian makes some great music. So
so
and
what
Passive does too.
uh, what's your dream? What's your dream accomplishment in music?
I guess at the moment it'd be to a point where I would be making money off of enough money off music to sustain myself on just the music. and to hopefully still be able to make a lot of passion projects. Now that will probably be very hard to balance,
For sure.
but
Yeah.
that's the hope.
Well, yeah, and hey, if it's hard to balance, that's good problems to have. Like.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say?
um, I guess at this point I'm kind of veering more towards doing a lot more vocals. So I guess just watch out for that because I'll be looking for some more producers to work with myself as a vocalist. So
Awesome.